The room was already thick with tension when Jessica stepped in, heels clicking slow like she wanted everyone to hear her coming. Cameras caught the way her jaw tightened as she scanned the faces around her, and fans would later say you could feel something about to snap. Jasmine sat across the room pretending to scroll on her phone, but her leg was bouncing non-stop, a nervous tic she couldn't hide. Everyone knew these two hadn't exactly been best friends, but nobody expected them to walk in locked together with the same energy, the same purpose. Rasheeda noticed it first. She leaned over to Kirk and whispered, "Why'd I feel like tonight ain't gonna be cute?" Kirk laughed it off, but even he looked uneasy, tugging at his jacket like he suddenly felt exposed. The conversation started light, almost fake. Jokes were made, drinks were poured, and for a moment it looked like another messy but manageable night. Then Jessica cleared her throat. The room went quiet, not because she demanded attention, but because her silence alone felt loud. "I've been holding my tongue for a long time," she said slowly, eyes locked on Rasheeda. "And honestly, I'm tired." Rasheeda blinked, confused but defensive. "If you got something to say it," she replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. That was all the invitation Jessica needed. Jasmine suddenly stood up, chair scraping against the floor. "Nah, because this ain't just her," she cut in. "This is me too." Fans would later say that was the moment everything shifted. Kirk leaned back, arms crossed, trying to look unbothered, but his eyes darted between the two women. "What is this about?" he asked, voice sharp. Jessica laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You really want to ask that on camera?" she shot back. "Or you want to keep pretending everything's fine like always?" Rasheeda's smile dropped instantly. "Don't play with me," she snapped. "Whatever issue you got, say it with your chest." Jessica took a step forward. "I am. Because the way y'all move behind closed doors? It ain't matching this perfect couple image you sell." Murmurs rippled through the room. Someone whispered, "Oh, this is getting messy." Jasmine nodded aggressively. "Thank you. Because I've been saying that. Everybody acts like I'm crazy, like I'm bitter, but the truth is y'all been manipulating narratives for years." Rasheeda stood up now too, eyes blazing. "Don't you dare put my name in some mess," she yelled. "You don't know my marriage." Jasmine laughed loudly. "Girl, stop. We know way more than you think." Kirk slammed his hand on the table. "Watch your mouth," he warned. Jessica didn't flinch. "Or what, you gonna lie louder?" she shot back. That's when emotions ran high. Voices overlapped. Producers scrambled. Fans watching at home would later say it felt like a bomb was about to go off. Rasheeda pointed at Jasmine. "You've been obsessed with this since day one," she said. "This is giving jealousy." Jasmine stepped closer, face inches away. "Jealous of what? Stress? Secrets? Sleepless nights wondering who knows what?" That line hit hard. Rasheeda froze for half a second, just enough for cameras to catch it. Jessica seized the moment. "Exactly. Because some of us been protecting y'all," she said. "And I'm done." Kirk shook his head. "This is some clout-chasing nonsense," he muttered. Jessica snapped back instantly. "Don't do that. Don't minimize me like you minimize everybody else when the truth gets uncomfortable." The air felt heavy, like nobody was breathing. Jasmine crossed her arms. "I didn't want it to come out like this," she admitted. "But I'm not carrying this alone anymore." Rasheeda's voice cracked slightly. "What are you talking about?" she asked. "What did we do to you?" Jasmine looked her dead in the eye. "You let me be painted as a villain while you played innocent," she said. "You knew what Kirk was doing, and you let me take the heat." Gasps filled the room. Kirk immediately jumped in. "That's a lie," he barked. Jasmine smirked. "See? Every time." Jessica raised her hand. "Let her finish," she said firmly. "Because this is bigger than just her." Rasheeda looked betrayed. "And you?" she asked Jessica. "You siding with her now?" Jessica sighed deeply. "I'm siding with the truth," she replied. "And the truth is, I watched y'all spin stories, gaslight people, and smile through it like nothing happened." Rasheeda's eyes filled with tears, but her tone stayed sharp. "You don't know what I've been through," she said. Jessica answered quietly, "We all been through things. The difference is, some of us don't rewrite history to survive." Fans are shocked because at this point, alliances were clearly breaking. Friends in the room avoided eye contact. Nobody wanted to be pulled into the blast radius. Kirk muttered under his breath, "This is why I hate group settings." Jasmine snapped back, "No, you hate accountability." That's when Kirk stood up fully. "I'm not doing this," he said. "Y'all not about to gang up on me." Jessica tilted her head. "Funny how truth feels like a gang up when you're used to control," she said. Rasheeda wiped her tears and straightened her posture. "Say what you need to say," she demanded. "But don't lie on us." Jasmine took a deep breath. "Okay," she said, "let's talk about the promises that were made off camera. The calls late at night. The silence when things blew up and I was left alone. The room went dead quiet. Jessica nodded slowly. And let's talk about who knew, she added. Rasheeda's voice dropped to a whisper. You don't want to do this, she warned. Jasmine met her stare. You should have thought about that before letting me take the fall. Nobody interrupted now. Even the crew seemed frozen. Emotions were raw, unresolved, and spilling fast. Kirk clenched his jaw, realizing this wasn't something he could laugh off or redirect. Jessica looked around the room and said, this is just the beginning, her voice calm but dangerous. Because once the truth starts coming out, it don't stop. And right there, in that thick silence, you could feel it. Whatever was about to be revealed next was going to change everything, and there was no turning back. The silence didn't last long. Rasheeda broke it first, laughing nervously like she was trying to convince herself this was all a joke. So this is what we doing now? She said. We dragging old stuff for a moment? Jasmine shook her head. It's not old when it never got resolved, she replied. It's not old when I'm still being blamed. Kirk rubbed his face hard, pacing now. This is turning into a circus, he muttered. Jessica snapped, no, this is what happens when the truth finally gets tired of waiting. Rasheeda turned to Kirk. Say something, she demanded. Kirk stopped pacing and looked straight at Jasmine. You knew what it was, he said coldly. You knew where we stood. Jasmine laughed, sharp and bitter. No, I knew what you told me, she fired back. Big difference. The room erupted again. Voices overlapped. Someone yelled, chill, but nobody listened. Fans would later say this felt like watching years of tension boil over in real time. Jessica stepped between them. See, this is the problem, she said. Every time things get uncomfortable, it turns into blame shifting. Rasheeda pointed at her. You don't get to play mediator, she snapped. Where was this energy before? Jessica didn't hesitate. I was protecting people who didn't deserve it, she said. And that's on me. That admission hit harder than any insult. Jasmine looked at Jessica, surprised. So you knew, she said softly. Jessica nodded. Enough, she replied. Enough to know you weren't crazy. Rasheeda's voice cracked. So everybody just talking about me behind my back now? She asked. Jasmine shook her head. No, we talking to you, she said. Because you had no problem letting me be the villain. Kirk jumped in. You made your own choices. Jasmine snapped back instantly. And you made promises you didn't keep. Gasps echoed. Rasheeda slammed her hand on the table. Stop, she yelled. Both of you. But the damage was done. Jessica leaned in. You know what hurts the most? She asked Rasheeda. Watching fans defend you so hard, not knowing the full story. Rasheeda's eyes flashed. Don't bring fans into this, she warned. Jessica shrugged. They already in it, she replied. They've been divided for years. Jasmine added, and I've been dragged for years. The argument spilled into the hallway as producers tried to separate them. Cameras followed every step. Kirk pulled Rasheeda aside. This is getting out of hand, he whispered harshly. Rasheeda snapped. You think I don't know? Jasmine overheard and laughed. Funny how it's out of hand now, she said. Where was that energy when my name was getting trashed? Kirk turned around. You wanted attention, he snapped. Jasmine stepped closer. No, I wanted honesty. Jessica watched it all, arms crossed. This is exactly why I spoke up, she said. Because y'all never deal with things head on. Rasheeda looked at her like she'd been stabbed. I trusted you, she said quietly. Jessica's voice softened. I know, she replied. And that's why this hurts. The confrontation paused when one of the cast members whispered, the blogs are already posting. Everyone froze. Phones came out. Jasmine smirked. See? She said. The truth don't wait. Rasheeda scrolled, her face draining of color. This is embarrassing, she whispered. Kirk snapped, put the phone down. Rasheeda ignored him. They're calling me fake, she said. Jasmine replied, welcome to my world. Emotions ran high as Rasheeda finally broke down. Tears streamed as she said, you think I wanted any of this? Jasmine's expression softened for a split second. I think you wanted peace, she said. But you chose silence instead. Kirk scoffed. Silence keeps families together, he said. Jessica shot back, no, silence keeps lies alive. That line hit like a slap. Rasheeda turned on Kirk. Did you tell her things you never told me? She asked. Kirk hesitated, just for a moment. That moment was everything. Jasmine pointed. There it is, she said. That pause. Rasheeda's voice rose. Answer me, she demanded. Kirk sighed. It wasn't like that, he said. Rasheeda screamed, then what was it? Producers stepped in again as Rasheeda stormed off, sobbing. The family was left divided, literally split down the hallway. Jasmine leaned against the wall, shaking. Jessica stood beside her. You okay? She asked. Jasmine nodded slowly. I am now, she said. Because I'm not carrying this alone anymore. Minutes later, Rasheeda returned, eyes red but posture strong. I'm not running, she said. But I won't be disrespected. Jasmine replied calmly, respect comes with accountability. Kirk muttered, this is a setup. Jessica laughed. The only setup was pretending this day wouldn't come. The group regrouped, but the energy was different. Trust was gone. Every word felt loaded. Rasheeda looked at Jasmine. What do you want? She asked. Jasmine answered without hesitation. The truth. Publicly. Kirk snapped, that's not happening. Jessica stepped in. You don't get to decide that, she said. Not anymore. Fans are shocked because at this point, Kirk looked cornered. Rasheeda looked conflicted. Jasmine looked relieved. Jessica looked resolute. Alliances had flipped, and nobody knew how to put the pieces back together. Jasmine said quietly, this isn't about revenge. Rasheeda replied, it feels like it. Jasmine shook her head. It feels like freedom. The night ended without resolution, but with something more dangerous, momentum. As they walked out separately, whispers followed. Producers exchanged looks. Everyone knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Because once secrets start unraveling, they don't stop halfway. And the next time they all sat in the same room, the truth would come even harder, and somebody's perfect image was guaranteed to shatter. The fallout hit the next morning like a wave nobody could outrun. Group chats were on fire, blogs were speculating wildly, and fans are shocked at how fast the narrative flipped. Jessica woke up to missed calls and messages stacked like bricks. She stared at her phone, knowing she couldn't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Jasmine, on the other hand, felt a strange calm. For the first time in years, she wasn't bracing for impact alone. Whatever happens now happens, she told herself, scrolling through comments that ranged from support to straight-up hate. Rasheeda barely slept. Kirk paced their house all night, muttering about damage control and image. This is bad, he kept saying. Rasheeda finally snapped. No, what's bad is I keep finding things out from other people, she said, voice low and shaking. Kirk tried to pull her into a hug. She stepped back. Don't, she warned. Not right now. That distance felt louder than any argument. Later that day, the cast gathered again, this time with a different energy. No drinks, no jokes, just tension sitting heavy in every chair. Jasmine arrived first, shoulders squared. Jessica followed, giving her a small nod. Rasheeda walked in last with Kirk, holding herself together by sheer will. Cameras zoomed in on every micro-expression. Fans watching live were already picking sides. I'm not here to fight, Rasheeda said, breaking the silence. I'm here to understand. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. Understand what? She asked. Rasheeda swallowed. What you think I did to you? Jasmine exhaled slowly. You let me drown, she said. You watched it happen. Kirk jumped in, that's not fair. Jessica snapped, let her speak. Kirk glared but stayed quiet. Jasmine continued. When everything came out, I was labeled the problem, she said. And you stayed silent. That silence told the world everything. Rasheeda's eyes filled again. I was trying to protect my family, she whispered. Jasmine replied, and I was collateral damage. That line landed hard. Even Kirk looked away. Jessica leaned forward. This is why I said something, she explained. Because watching this play out again and again was eating at me. Rasheeda turned to her. So you chose her over me? Jessica shook her head. I chose honesty over comfort, she said. And I know that hurts. Emotions ran high when Kirk finally spoke. Y'all acting like I'm some monster, he said defensively. Jasmine shot back, you're acting like accountability is an attack. Rasheeda looked at him sharply. Answer one question, she said. Did you promise her things you never told me about? Kirk hesitated again. That pause was louder than words. Jasmine laughed bitterly. There it is again, she said. Rasheeda's voice broke. I asked you a yes or no. Kirk sighed. I said things I shouldn't have, he admitted. Gasps filled the room. Rasheeda stood up so fast her chair fell. Things, she repeated. Things like what? Kirk rubbed his temples. Things that made her think there was more, he said. Jasmine closed her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. That's all I wanted. The truth. Rasheeda turned away, shaking. The family was left divided in that moment, not by Jasmine or Jessica, but by words Kirk had avoided for years. Producers stayed silent, letting the moment breathe. Fans watching felt like they were witnessing a crack in something that had always seemed unbreakable. After a long pause, Rasheeda faced Jasmine. I'm sorry, she said quietly. Not for my marriage. For my silence. Jasmine nodded. That's all I needed to hear, she replied. Kirk scoffed under his breath. Rasheeda snapped, don't. That single word said everything. The room shifted again, this time towards something raw and unresolved instead of explosive. Jessica wiped her eyes. This doesn't fix everything, she said. But it's a start. Rasheeda looked at her. We'll see, she replied. Trust wasn't magically restored. Scars don't vanish because of one conversation. Outside, fans debated nonstop. Some praised Jasmine for standing her ground. Others accused Jessica of stirring the pot. Many questioned Kirk's version of events. Nobody agreed on everything, but one thing was clear: the image was cracked. Later that night, Rasheeda confronted Kirk privately. "I defended you for years," she said. Kirk responded, "I never asked you to." Rasheeda laughed bitterly. "That's the problem," she said. "You never had to." The weight of that statement hung between them. Meanwhile, Jasmine and Jessica sat together, decompressing. "You think they'll really change?" Jasmine asked. Jessica shrugged. "I think the truth already did," she said. "Whether they like it or not." Jasmine nodded. "I don't feel angry anymore," she admitted. "Just tired." Jessica replied, "Sometimes peace comes after exhaustion." As the days passed, the tension didn't disappear, it transformed. Posts went viral. Reactions poured in. Fans are shocked by how divided everyone became. Some demanded accountability. Others begged for reconciliation. The cast prepared for another sit-down, knowing nothing would ever be the same. Because once words are said out loud, they don't go back into hiding. Once silence is broken, it never feels safe again. And as everyone braced for what came next, one thing was certain. This story wasn't finished. Not even close. The tension didn't just simmer, it boiled over, and fans are shocked at how fast everything spiraled out of control. One minute, it was another glamorous night in Atlanta. The next, voices were raised, receipts were hinted at, and long-buried grudges came roaring back to life. This season of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta has officially crossed into chaos as Jessica White and Jasmine Washington finally decided they were done staying silent, and they aimed their fire straight at Rasheeda Frost and Kirk Frost. According to insiders, what started as side-eye and whispers quickly turned into a full-blown verbal war. Emotions ran high as accusations flew across the room, leaving everyone frozen in disbelief. Jessica, visibly shaking, was heard saying, "I've protected this truth for too long," while Jasmine allegedly snapped back with, "If I'm going down, everybody's coming with me." And just like that, the room went silent. Fans are already asking, what secret was powerful enough to unite Jessica and Jasmine against one of Atlanta's most talked-about couples? Was this about loyalty, betrayal, or a truth Rasheeda and Kirk never expected to see the light of day? As cameras kept rolling, friendships cracked, alliances shifted, and the family was left divided before our very eyes. This wasn't just another argument. This was a moment that could change everything, and once the words were spoken, there was no taking them back. Buckle up, because what happens next might be the most explosive showdown Love and Hip Hop Atlanta has ever seen. The next sit-down felt heavier than all the others combined. Nobody smiled for cameras this time. Nobody joked. Everyone walked in like they were headed to court, not a conversation. Rasheeda sat stiff, hands folded, eyes tired but sharp. Kirk leaned back like he was trying to appear unbothered, but the tension in his shoulders told a different story. Jasmine walked in calm, almost eerily so, while Jessica followed behind her, fully aware that fans were now labeling her either a truth-teller or a traitor. "Let's not dance around it," Jasmine said, breaking the silence. "The internet already decided who we are." Rasheeda sighed. "The internet doesn't live my life," she replied. Jessica cut in, "But it affects it." That line landed quietly but deep. Kirk scoffed. "Y'all letting comments control the narrative now?" Jasmine snapped back. "No, the narrative existed long before the comments." Rasheeda turned to Jasmine. "I apologized," she said. "What else do you want from me?" Jasmine met her gaze. "Consistency," she answered. "Not sympathy today and silence tomorrow." Rasheeda swallowed. "You think this is easy for me?" she asked. Jasmine replied softly, "I never said it was. I said it was necessary." Emotions ran high again when Kirk jumped in. "So I'm just the villain in everybody's story now?" he asked. Jessica tilted her head. "You're the common denominator," she said calmly. Kirk laughed harshly. "That's convenient." Jessica didn't flinch. "So is denial." The room went quiet. Fans watching would later say that was the moment Kirk realized he no longer controlled the room. Rasheeda looked between them. "This marriage has survived worse," she said. Jasmine replied, "Survived isn't the same as healed." Rasheeda closed her eyes briefly, absorbing that. "You think I don't know that?" she asked. Jasmine nodded. "I think you know it better than anyone." The conversation shifted when Jessica spoke again. "I need to say something," she said. "Because people keep asking why I waited." Everyone turned to her. "I waited because I believed things would change," she continued. "Because I believed protecting the image would protect the people." She shook her head. "I was wrong." Rasheeda's voice softened. "You should have come to me." Jessica replied, "I didn't think you were ready to hear it." That hurt more than any accusation. Rasheeda leaned back, blinking rapidly. Maybe I wasn't, she admitted. Kirk muttered, here we go. Rasheeda snapped, not now. The shift was subtle but powerful. For the first time, Kirk wasn't steering the conversation. Jasmine leaned forward. This is why I spoke up, she said. Not to destroy you. To stop pretending. Rasheeda nodded slowly. I hear that now. Kirk rolled his eyes. So what, we just air out everything? Jasmine replied, no. We stop lying. Jessica added, especially to ourselves. Outside the room, fans continued debating nonstop. Some praised Rasheeda for staying composed. Others accused Kirk of dodging accountability. Jasmine was being called brave by some, bitter by others. Jessica was labeled messy and necessary at the same time. The family was left divided not just internally but publicly. Back in the room, Kirk finally spoke again. Y'all want honesty? He asked. Fine, I messed up. Rasheeda looked at him sharply. That's it? She asked. Kirk hesitated. I blurred lines, he said. Jasmine exhaled slowly. Say it clearly, she urged. Kirk clenched his jaw. I led you on, he admitted. That admission hit harder than anything before. Rasheeda stood up, shaking. You didn't just disrespect me, she said. You embarrassed me. Kirk responded defensively, I never planned for it to go this far. Rasheeda laughed bitterly. It always goes this far, she said. That's the problem. Jessica watched silently, realizing there was nothing left to add. Jasmine wiped a tear but didn't look away. Thank you for saying it, she told Kirk. That's all I ever wanted. Kirk muttered, you got it now. Jasmine replied, I already had it. I just needed you to own it. The energy shifted again, this time toward aftermath. No yelling, no explosions, just damage assessment. Rasheeda sat back down slowly. I need time, she said. Kirk nodded. Take it. Rasheeda shot back, you don't get to grant me that. The line echoed. As the meeting wrapped, there was no hug, no closure, just distance. Jasmine and Jessica walked out together again, but this time quieter. Do you regret it? Jasmine asked. Jessica shook her head. I regret waiting, she replied. Jasmine nodded. Same. Rasheeda stayed behind with Kirk. The cameras caught her final words. I love you, she said. But love without honesty is just survival. Kirk didn't respond right away. That silence said more than anything he could have said. As they all went their separate ways, fans were left buzzing with unanswered questions. Would this finally change the dynamic? Would Rasheeda choose herself? Would Kirk actually do the work? Would Jasmine finally get peace? Nobody knew, but one thing was clear. The truth had been spoken out loud, and there was no pretending it hadn't been heard. Because once the tension boils over, it doesn't just cool down. It reshapes everything it touches. Days passed, but the tension never really left. It lingered in interviews, in side conversations, in the way people avoided eye contact when certain names came up. Rasheeda tried to keep busy, pouring herself into work, but every quiet moment betrayed her. She replayed Kirk's words over and over, especially the pauses. Those pauses felt louder than the admissions. Kirk, meanwhile, leaned hard into routine, gym in the morning, meetings all day, anything to avoid sitting still with his thoughts. But avoidance didn't erase accountability, and fans made sure he knew it. Jasmine felt lighter, but not free. Freedom, she realized, wasn't just being heard. It was being believed. Comments flooded in, some supportive, others cruel. She read them anyway, telling herself she could handle it now. Jessica checked in constantly. You good? She'd text. Jasmine would reply, better than before, and it was true. The truth had shifted something inside her, even if the world hadn't fully caught up. The next group gathering came unexpectedly. Nobody had prepared statements. Nobody had rehearsed lines. It was raw by default. Rasheeda arrived alone this time. That alone spoke volumes. When Kirk walked in later, the distance between them felt deliberate. They sat apart, and for the first time, nobody tried to fix the optics. Fans watching noticed immediately. Whispers spread online. Screenshots flew. The family was left divided, and the division was no longer subtle. I asked for this meeting, Rasheeda said, voice steady but tired. Because I need clarity. Jasmine nodded. Jessica stayed quiet. Kirk shifted in his seat. Rasheeda continued. Clarity about what I'm willing to tolerate. That sentence landed like a verdict. Kirk frowned. What does that mean? Rasheeda looked at him. It means I've been surviving, she said. And I don't want to anymore. Emotions ran high when Kirk tried to interrupt. We're married, he said. Rasheeda replied, marriage isn't a shield. Jasmine exhaled softly. Jessica's eyes widened just slightly. Fans are shocked because Rasheeda wasn't defensive anymore. She wasn't protecting the image. She was protecting herself. Jasmine spoke next. I don't want to be part of your marriage story, she said. I never did. Rasheeda nodded. I believe you, she replied. Kirk looked between them, realizing the dynamic had shifted without him. So I'm just the bad guy, he said. Jessica finally spoke. You're the one with the power to change that, she said. But not by denying it. Rasheeda leaned forward. I need transparency, she said. Not promises. Not apologies. Patterns. Kirk swallowed. I'm trying, he said. Rasheeda responded calmly, trying isn't enough when the damage is repetitive. Silence followed. That silence felt earned. Later, in a confessional-style moment, Rasheeda admitted something that stunned fans. I've been afraid, she said. Afraid that choosing myself would mean losing everything. The vulnerability shifted public perception overnight. Comments poured in with empathy. Others questioned whether it was too late. The debate raged. Jasmine faced her own reckoning when a former friend confronted her privately. You blew this up, the friend said. Jasmine replied, it was already burning. That distinction mattered to her. She refused to carry guilt for telling the truth. Jessica backed her up publicly, saying, silence protects harm. Fans latched onto the phrase. Another sit-down happened, smaller this time. Fewer voices, more intention. Rasheeda and Jasmine spoke one-on-one. No Kirk, no Jessica, just two women unpacking years of resentment. I hated you, Rasheeda admitted. Jasmine nodded. I know, she said. I felt it. Rasheeda sighed. I was really angry at him, she confessed. But it was easier to aim it at you. Jasmine's eyes softened. That's human, she said. But it still hurt. They didn't hug. They didn't become friends. But they reached an understanding. That alone felt revolutionary. The family was left divided, but some bridges were no longer burning. Kirk watched all of this from the sidelines, increasingly aware that the narrative no longer centered him. Attempts to regain control backfired. Every defensive comment was clipped and shared. Fans are shocked by how quickly sympathy evaporated. Accountability, it turned out, had a deadline. Jessica faced backlash too. Some accused her of betrayal. Others called her brave. She accepted both. I didn't speak up to be liked, she said in an interview. I spoke up to stop lying. That honesty resonated with viewers who had felt gaslit for seasons. The final moments of this stretch were quiet but heavy. Rasheeda packed a small bag one night, not to leave forever, but to create space. Kirk watched silently. This isn't goodbye, she said. It's a pause. Kirk nodded, realizing he had no leverage left. Love alone wasn't enough. Jasmine stood on a balcony later, looking out over the city lights, breathing in the calm after the storm. Jessica joined her. You did what you had to do, Jessica said. Jasmine replied, so did you. Below them, Atlanta buzzed, unaware of how much had shifted behind closed doors. Fans were left with questions and no easy answers. Would space lead to healing or separation? Would accountability turn into real change? Would truth finally replace performance? Nobody knew, but the tension had boiled, spilled, and settled into something new. Something irreversible. And as the cameras faded out, one thing was certain. Pretending was over. The pause changed everything. Not because it fixed anything, but because it forced everyone to sit with the consequences instead of performing through them. Rasheeda stayed with family for a while, keeping her distance from Kirk, answering only necessary calls. Fans are shocked at how quiet she became. No cryptic posts, no defensive interviews, just silence. And for once, that silence wasn't protecting a lie. It was protecting her sanity. Kirk spiraled in a different way. He tried to get ahead of the narrative, dropping hints in conversations, suggesting he was misunderstood, suggesting things were edited unfairly. But every time he spoke, it only made things worse. Accountability can't sound like excuses, and viewers weren't buying it. Emotions ran high online, with fans dissecting every word, every pause, every deflection. The tide had turned, and Kirk felt it. Jasmine tried to move forward, but healing wasn't linear. Some days she felt empowered. Other days she felt exposed. The comments got to her more than she admitted. She wondered if telling the truth had cost her peace instead of giving it. Jessica reminded her constantly, peace doesn't come from silence, it comes from alignment. Jasmine held on to that, especially on the hard days. When the group gathered again, it was supposed to be about closure. That's what producers said, but closure is messy when wounds are still open. Rasheeda arrived late, calm but guarded. Kirk stood when he saw her, unsure whether to sit back down or speak. She gestured for him to stay seated. I'm not here to argue, she said. I'm here to be clear. Everyone leaned in. I've spent years making excuses, Rasheeda continued. For behavior I didn't cause. Kirk tried to interject. She raised her hand. Let me finish. That simple boundary stunned everyone. Fans watching would later say they barely recognized her, and in the best way. I love you, she said to Kirk. But love isn't enough anymore. Kirk's face tightened. So what are you saying? He asked. Rasheeda answered steadily, I'm saying things have to change, or this doesn't continue. The room went still. The family was left divided in that moment between hope and reality. Kirk nodded slowly. I'll do whatever it takes, he said. Rasheeda replied, you always say that after the damage. Jessica looked down. Jasmine exhaled. Nobody disagreed. Jasmine spoke up. I don't want to be the reason your marriage ends, she said. Rasheeda looked at her. You're not, she replied. You're the mirror. That acknowledgement shifted something. Jasmine swallowed hard, fighting tears. I never wanted this, she said. Rasheeda nodded. I know. Kirk tried again. Can we not do this in front of everybody? He asked. Rasheeda answered calmly, we didn't break it privately. That line echoed long after she said it. Fans replayed it. Blogs quoted it. It became a moment. Afterward, Kirk pulled Jessica aside. You really think you did the right thing? He asked. Jessica met his eyes. I think I did the necessary thing, she replied. There's a difference. Kirk shook his head. You blew my life up. Jessica answered, you built it on shaky ground. The tension followed everyone home. Rasheeda spent long nights journaling, confronting parts of herself she'd avoided. She realized how much of her identity had been wrapped up in holding things together. Letting go felt like failure at first. Then it started to feel like relief. Kirk started therapy, at least on paper. Whether it would lead to real change was still uncertain. Accountability isn't proven by appointments, it's proven by patterns. Fans remained skeptical. Emotions ran high every time his name trended. Jasmine focused on rebuilding her own narrative. She took control of her story, speaking carefully but honestly. I'm not proud of everything, she said in one interview. But I'm proud I stopped lying. That vulnerability resonated. Slowly, support outweighed the hate. Jessica faced her own reckoning too. Friendships cooled, trust shifted, but she stood firm. I can live with being misunderstood, she said. I couldn't live with staying quiet. Fans debated her role endlessly. Instigator to some, whistleblower to others. The truth sat somewhere in between. One final gathering brought everyone together again, not to explode, but to reflect. Rasheeda and Kirk sat apart but spoke respectfully. Jasmine and Jessica listened more than they talked. The energy was heavy but honest. No yelling, no theatrics, just consequences. Rasheeda ended it with one sentence. Whatever happens next, she said, I choose myself. That choice rippled outward. The family was left divided but also transformed. Pretending was no longer an option for anyone involved. As the cameras pulled back, fans were left buzzing with unanswered questions. Will Kirk really change? Will Rasheeda walk away for good or rebuild on new terms? Will Jasmine finally find peace without backlash? Will Jessica's truth-telling cost her more than it gave her? What started as tension didn't just boil. It reshaped lives. And once that kind of truth comes out, there's no going back to the version of the story everyone used to believe. Only forward, into whatever comes next. The aftermath settled into something quieter but heavier, like smoke after a fire that had already done its damage. Rasheeda moved differently now. She spoke slower, listened longer, and stopped explaining herself to people who had already decided what they wanted to believe. Fans are shocked by the shift. Some called it growth, others called it detachment. Rasheeda didn't label it at all. She just knew she couldn't carry everyone else's expectations anymore. Kirk felt the change immediately. The house felt bigger, colder. Conversations were short and practical. No arguing, but no warmth either. That scared him more than yelling ever did. He tried to fill the silence with gestures, dinners, apologies that sounded rehearsed even to himself. Rasheeda noticed. I don't need performances, she told him one night. I need proof. Kirk nodded, but proof takes time, and time was the one thing she was no longer willing to give endlessly. Jasmine watched all of this from a distance, trying not to internalize what wasn't hers anymore. She reminded herself daily that she had already paid her price. Still, guilt crept in sometimes. What if telling the truth broke something that could have been fixed? Jessica shut that down every time. If the truth breaks it, she said, it was already broken. Jasmine held onto that like a lifeline. Another public appearance forced everyone into the same space again. The energy was stiff, polite, controlled. Rasheeda greeted Jasmine with a nod. Jasmine returned it. Not friends, not enemies. Just two people who finally saw each other clearly. Fans noticed the respect immediately. Screenshots circulated. Captions read things like, growth, and maturity. For once, the internet wasn't completely wrong. Kirk tried to joke his way through the event, but it fell flat. Every laugh sounded forced. Every smile looked heavy. Someone asked him point blank if his marriage was okay. He hesitated. We're working on it, he said. Rasheeda, standing a few feet away, didn't confirm or deny. That silence spoke louder than anything else. Later, Rasheeda addressed the room herself. "I'm not here to explain my choices," she said calmly. "I'm here to live with them." The statement rippled through the crowd. Fans are shocked by how unbothered she seemed. The truth was, she was exhausted. Exhaustion looks a lot like calm once you stop fighting it. Behind the scenes, producers pushed for one last conversation. Closure. Finality. Nobody really believed in either, but they showed up anyway. Jasmine spoke first. "I don't regret telling the truth," she said, "but I regret the pain it caused." Rasheeda responded gently. "Pain reveals things," she said. "It's what we do after that matters." Kirk cleared his throat. "I regret everything," he said. Rasheeda looked at him. "Regret is easy," she replied. "Change is not." The room went quiet. Even Kirk knew she was right. Jessica watched them all, realizing her role was shifting again. She didn't need to push anymore. The truth was already out, doing its work. "I'm stepping back," she said. "Not because I was wrong, but because I've said what needed to be said." Jasmine squeezed her hand in gratitude. As the cameras wrapped, there was no dramatic ending. No explosive fight, just unresolved lives moving forward in different directions. Rasheeda left first, head high. Kirk followed later, alone. Jasmine stayed behind for a moment, taking a deep breath, feeling the weight finally lift just a little. Jessica joined her. "We survived," she said quietly. Jasmine nodded. "Yeah," she replied, "but nothing's the same." Fans were left divided, debates raging long after the episode ended. Some wanted reconciliation. Others wanted independence. Everyone wanted answers. But real life doesn't always give neat endings. Sometimes it just gives choices. And each of them made theirs. So now it's on you. After everything you just heard, every pause, every look, every truth that finally came out, the question is simple but heavy. Who do you believe? Was this long overdue accountability, or did the tension go too far? Fans are shocked, emotions are still running high, and the family is clearly left divided with no easy answers in sight. This story isn't over, not even close. What happens next could change everything we thought we knew, and the fallout is only getting deeper. Will change really happen, or will old patterns creep right back in once the cameras stop rolling? That's where you come in. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Tell us whose side you're on, who you think spoke the real truth, and who still has more to answer for. If you felt the tension, if you caught the subtle moments, if something didn't sit right with you, say it. This is where the real conversation happens. And if you don't want to miss what comes next, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you're always locked in when the drama unfolds. Trust us, the next chapter is going to be even more intense, and you'll want to be here for every second of it. Because in this world, silence is never neutral, the truth always finds a way out, and once the tension boils over, nothing ever goes back to the way it was. So stay tuned, stay loud, and stay right here.